Welcome back, everybody. This is Living the Dream podcast with Steve Buck and Gabie. Again, a little bit of house cleaning. Our email address, dream1776@gmail.com. 3M's, dream with 3M's, 1776@gmail.com. So, Gabie, on our introduction to our podcast, we went over our mission statement. For those of you who are just joining us, our mission statement, our mission is very simple. We want to teach young African-American men how to live the American dream. We explained in our introduction that living the American dream, it's not an event, it's a process.
Yes.
Every good thing in life is a process. So there's a process that we all have to go through in order to live the American dream. We discussed implementation, that there's an implementation to the process that we have to go through. It's a voluntary participation.
Yes, volunteer.
You don't have to live the American dream if you don't want to. We talked about kind of expanding our ideas about understanding for ourselves what God has for us, and really challenging people to say, all right, well, how can I define for myself, what does it mean to me to live the American dream? So let's expand our thinking.
Open your mind.
Open your minds, people. And partners, we talked about the fact that we're going to need partners. We're going to need a lot of partners. We're going to need partners with cash who can help purchase
laptops and
technology and Mac Pro books and iPhones that we can give to the participants in our podcast and what we're doing. So we're going to need people who can provide either hardware, software, cash, or whatever to get to these young men. We're going to need partners who could maybe provide space in Detroit for us to have a knowledge center campus, and so that we can train them how to use their MacBooks and their iPhones properly for communication, setting up email, setting up bank accounts, whatever. We're going to need partners, who can teach that stuff, who have got that real world knowledge that they can download to the people that need it.
And the credentials helped also.
well, top notch credentials, with a spirit of excellence, to those. And we're going to need partners who can just the basic life skills that a lot of these young men don't have.
Right.
We need somebody to pull them in a room and teach them, these basic life
Whip
skills.
them into shape.
That's right. That's right. We're, it's gonna, if we whip you into shape, it's gonna be easier for us to help you live and dream.
Right.
If you're prepared to do it.
Right.
We're talking about our podcast going remote, hopefully once a month here very soon, and going and visiting different people in different cities, who are participating in living the dream. And that's going to be a fun adventure. Hopefully, I'd really like to be able to kick that off within the first 6 months. So 6 months out is kind of my drop dead date that I want to be able to go out and visit our listeners.
Right.
We talked about discipline. Discipline is going to be part of this process, and that discipline helps us focus on the goal. So that was our introduction to what this podcast is, what we're about, and what we're trying to accomplish. So why don't we dive right into episode number 1? The whole starting idea in anything in life, and this just doesn't apply to living the dream. This has to do with everything in life, okay? And one of the greatest sayings, that I like more than anything else is the anthem or the saying of Nike, which is just do it.
Right.
Don't think about it. Don't worry about it.
Don't over process it.
Don't over process it. just do it.
Right.
Get it done. And, from our country folk, that's one of my favorite is get her done.
Get her done.
Get her done. All right. So, Nike's got the idea. Just do it.
Right.
Doesn't matter whether it's in sports or it's in life.
I was told they jacked that also, by the way. They stole that from somebody. Yeah.
Oh,
that's a different conversation. But
probably. So that person should be a lot wealthier than they are now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think it was like $25 type of situation.
So working off of Nike's jacked saying, we'll say, all right, just do it. Okay. And so in my world, what that meant to me was my pastor. I had a fantastic pastor, Pastor James Blum, just an amazing man of God. He always would reiterate the idea that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step.
Right.
Okay. So right after you get the idea in your mind that you just do it. Okay. After you have processed that, got it in your head, just say, all right, I'm just going to do it. What comes next? The first thing that comes is you got to take first step.
Right.
Now, for most people, I think that the first step is going to be this idea of accepting the idea or the fact that everything is supposed to work for the good for those who love the Lord. Now, I'm not here to preach to anybody, okay? And I just want to point out before we get started and we really get into it, there are two ways to do what we're talking about. So, number one, you can do it without God. I've seen plenty of people live the dream, okay, without any participation of God.
Right.
Okay. Or you can have God participate in your journey with you. Okay. And from my own personal experience, I submit that it's better. Why was it better for me? It's because he put it on turbocharge and it probably took about 1/10 of the time as it took other people because of the fact that I had God's assistance.
That's bad versus good.
So you could choose how to do it. You can have God's assistance, or you can do it on your own. And again, that's a choice.
It's a cycle of failing.
Exactly. So the first step is, okay, decide, do you want God's help or not? You don't have to take it. Okay. And then the next step is we have to understand the idea that the minute that we decide that we're going to live the American dream, who's coming?
Me and God.
No.
God and I.
The minute that we decide that we're going to do something with God, or we're going to, and it doesn't even matter whether we do it with God or not. Who's the first people that comes out of the woodwork the minute that we decide in our life that we're going to live the American dream?
The haters.
Oh, you got it. The haters. That's the first people that come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
Okay. There's going to be, you nailed it. I didn't even have to share that because everybody knows the first thing that happens is the minute that something good's about to happen, the haters come out of the woodwork. And not just one, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 30, right?
Naysayer country.
You can't do this because A, B, C, D, E.
Right.
Right? Right? The haters come out. So everybody needs to understand that the minute that you decide that you're going to be successful and you're going to live the American dream, every hater in your life is going to come out and they're going to come against you. And watch out to be ready for them. Okay? Because the devil is very good at using the haters, okay, to tear you down, okay, to distract you, to get you down in the dumps. So be ready for it. The minute that you decide.
Have to be able to handle that.
The minute that you decide.
That discipline to help you handle that.
A hater that doesn't even know that you decided that is going to come up.
Right.
And tell you can't do that. Well, you don't know what I'm going to do.
Right.
Well, you can't do it.
Right.
Well, why not? Because I said you can't do it. Well, the word of God doesn't say that I can do that. So am I supposed to listen to you or the word of God or in life in general? Life, nobody has sovereignty over me. I have sovereignty over me and what I'm going to think and what I'm going to do and what I'm going to believe and what I'm going to achieve. Okay, so each one of us, we have to know that that's coming. Okay, because we need to be prepared to do battle with it. So, and it happened to me. It happened to me. I sat in church one day. I listened to a sermon that my pastor was preaching. And he said, "You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you." I was so stupid, I believed what he was saying. Okay. And I thought that I could do all things through Christ. Okay. So what did I do the next week? I went out and did all things through Christ who strengthened me. Okay. And I'd go in and he'd preach another sermon. Okay. About the idea of the golden rule. Okay. And he basically preached that if I would apply the golden rule and if I would treat other people the way that I expected them to treat me, then I could expect to reap what I sowed. All right. Again, I was so stupid. I believe what he said. I applied the golden rule, and guess what happened? I started reaping what I sowed. Why do I say these things? Okay. Is that for me, the way that God was able to turbocharge my flight path to live the American dream was because of the fact that I had support.
Right.
Okay. I had great spiritual support. Not everybody has that.
Right. I didn't have it.
Right. And how big of a difference maker? How big of a difference maker can that be in young men's lives who don't have that?
Right.
Okay.
It's a drastic difference.
Oh yeah. Well, I was extremely blessed. I had a great support structure in my life. These young men that we're talking about, they have little to none of a support structure.
Right.
Okay. So having a support structure, rubbing elbows with people who are going to help you think properly, believe properly.
Right.
That is a critical component to what we're talking about. I mean, it helps, and it helps in a big way. So we know the haters are coming. They're gonna come up with over 1,000 reasons on why you can't live the American dream. And so to tell our audience from an African American man's perspective, what are the haters telling every young African American male why he can't live the American dream? What are they?
Well, from my experience, just to begin with, most of the people telling you that haven't lived it themselves. So you're getting the word of someone that can't really show you. Like, people talk, but if you can't show me what you're talking about, how am I supposed to understand?
So it's the idea of misery loves company.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
right?
You can't do that.
You can't do it because I didn't do it. You can't do it because I didn't know how to do it.
No, I can't.
You can't do it because I need company being in misery. So I don't want you going anywhere. Right. So why don't you stay right here with me?
Yeah, because when you start doing things, you start moving more. I mean, especially if you're moving the right way.
Well, that's it. So I guess as we talk about getting started, and we say to ourselves, just do it, get going, take the first step, make the first step. But before you make the first step, just be ready for the haters, because the haters are going to be coming out of the woodwork in droves.
Right. You got to be able to move through that.
Right. We gotta address the haters. Okay. And what are some ways that we can address the haters? I've got some ideas, and because I know how I address the haters.
Well, I know Mr. West, Kanye West said, "How do you move in a room full of no's?" I mean, this is that's part of that discipline and ignoring the haters and all. You got to have the horse blinders.
Okay,
on.
Number one, ignore the haters.
You can't listen to people who are not in support of what you're doing. That's just a basic rule. Like, why listen to somebody who thinks you can't do anything?
Do not listen to the haters. Do not listen to the haters. Okay?
then you have,
Number
you know,
one.
like you said, you have in general systematic situations that are just, you know, bringing you more people who will tell you no, 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 because they don't know.
That's right. Right. They don't know because if they haven't experienced it,
Mm-hmm.
then they don't even know what
Mm-hmm.
they don't even know what we're talking about, do they?
No.
The American dream?
I mean, if I want to take another a rapper's quote, Jay-Z even said, you know, don't induce your fears into me. No, you can't do that. I can do that. You can't do that.
That's
You're scared to do that, not me. I can do it.
oh my
And
God.
that's what
That's
people
right.
do.
That's right.
They telling you about their fears.
And how true is that? Is that if you want death and destruction and failure
Mm-hmm.
for your life, that's your choice.
Right.
But you're not gonna paint that on me.
Right.
Because that's not my choice.
Yeah.
Well, my choice is I've decided I want to live the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
I want to enjoy the better things in life.
Right.
I like brand new cars. I don't like buying anything used.
Yeah,
That's part of the American dream.
trust me, you get sick of doing it after a while. Listen, I'm a person at this point in time right now. I'm like, you know what? I've been rigging stuff most of my life. Like, no, give it to me first, so I got to do nothing to it. I just want to enjoy it. Then down the road, if I had to fix it or do something, okay, you know, I want some brand new things that's fresh out the box, and I ain't got to go and say, oh, let me figure out how I'm gonna make this thing operate.
You know, you want to drive it. You don't want to work on it.
Right.
Uh-huh.
I mean, in the beginning, anyway. You know, I buy it to drive it, not to work on it. I can go get a job at the you know, auto mechanic shop.
Well, so we've got this idea that just because other people are not living it,
Right.
it doesn't mean that we can't just because they aren't. So what I'm going to encourage everybody kind of at this juncture is that I want everybody I want people to take notes, okay? Because as we're discussing living the American dream, you remember things at least twice as well if you write something down, an idea. Okay, so I just want to encourage all of our listeners, just have a pad with you, have a pen. When you're watching our podcast, take notes. Okay, take notes, and I don't want you to write it down for the sake of just writing it down to revisit it later, because we're going to be posting notes on living the dream, you know, on our website.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I want you to write notes and take notes and write the stuff down so that you remember it, so that it becomes part of who you are. So when I made the decision that I wanted to live the American dream, you know, I had to deal. I had somebody. It felt like every single day of my life, I've had people give me thousands of reasons why I can't do what I've. It's done. Don't tell me I can't do it. I'm done. I'm done doing it.
A lot of people have a fear of being first.
Well,
I know that for a fact.
Well, a lot of people have a fear of being successful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
right. That too. Yeah.
Right. They don't living the dream, buying a new car. I don't know if I can handle that. Well, that's part of it. Is you got to be able to handle going in, plopping down, you know, cash, you know, to buy the car of your dreams. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, and I think that's a really good point. Is that you can't be afraid to succeed, and also you can't be afraid to temporarily fail. And I'm not going to say fail, and I'm only going to say temporary fail, because I have certainly had my fair share of failing temporarily. But the lesson that I learned from that, I was able to take that forward.
Right.
Okay. And utilize that and learn from that and not make that same mistake again, so that the next business venture that I undertook, I had that experience. And so I didn't make that mistake again.
A lot of people is you know, they are scared to fail, you know, and see, the thought process is what got me by, because I didn't look at it as failing. I looked at it as a mistake. I made a mistake. I didn't know no better. I had no idea because I don't have the experience. So obviously, if I'm not a professional swimmer and I just want to dive into a pool and then I want to go and dive into an ocean, and I think that the situation the ocean has a lot more power than a pool. The ocean can suck you in. A pool is just one little area where you can go. Is nothing dangerous. There's no sharks. There's no alligators. In the ocean, you got all this stuff to fear.
That's Oh yeah, there's things to definitely fear in the ocean.
Yeah, so I mean, it was the thought process for me. Like I didn't see it as a failure. I seen it as okay. I didn't know, so now I know what not to do.
Knowledge, right?
Right.
Back to item number 7 on our intro. Knowledge. Now you've got the knowledge. Now that's the beautiful thing about knowledge. Once you have the knowledge, there isn't anybody who can take that knowledge away from you.
In the hood, we call that doing the work. I did the work, so you can't tell me nothing different unless you can show me something different. See, at that point, they got to show you. That ain't what I know. Show me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. I'm from Missouri. I'm from the show me state.
Right. Exactly.
So you're right. Is that we have to address this idea that we can't be afraid to succeed, but we can't be afraid to make temporary mistakes.
Right.
Because
you don't know.
at the end of it, isn't that what built society? And right.
Yeah.
Okay. People made mistakes, right? They got the knowledge, and they kept that knowledge, and they didn't make the same mistake again. And so we should probably take a minute just to discuss that idea. Is that okay? Do you know what the definition of insanity is?
Repetitiously doing the same thing and expecting a change.
Exactly. Okay. I'm gonna put it in just the phrasing that I heard it is that the definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over and over and expecting to get a different result. Right. So there you have it, folks. It's that's the definition of insanity is that if you keep making the same mistakes, if you don't take your knowledge and your experience, okay, and properly utilize it,
it's a waste.
That's a waste.
Yeah.
That's a waste. That's all it is. So, I just want to encourage everybody just with this whole idea that you need the knowledge. When you make a mistake, that's fine. You can live with your mistakes, but for goodness sakes, learn from the mistake. Don't keep doing the exact same thing. Don't keep making the same error. That is insanity. If you're just going to sit there and keep doing the same thing,
not a good
making
cycle.
The same mistake, right? And a lot of people that we know, and it's happened to us too. We get caught in that cycle, and then we got, oh, wait a minute, this is broken. It's time to make a change, because what we're doing is the definition of insanity. So, one of the first things as you're getting going on living the American dream is that if you don't have a job, one of the first things that getting started entails is getting a job. And you're not going to start out as the CEO of Nike.
Right.
Okay.
Can't just do it.
That's some other dream. That's a dream, but you're not going to start out there. So you have to start out. Maybe the first step, okay, after you decide that you're just going to do it, is going out and getting a job.
You can put on the rubber soles first.
There you have it. And that may entail getting a pair of work boots.
Yeah, right.
It may entail getting some rubber boots because you got a really lousy job.
Yeah. Picking up a lot of poop.
Exactly. If you're cleaning out horse stalls. Okay. But I call that phase the humbling stage. You need to humble yourself and get behind the idea that in order to live the American dream, it starts with work.
Right.
You have to work.
Yeah.
If you're going to live the American dream, a prerequisite to living the American dream is you have to work. Not only do you have to work, but you have to be the hardest worker
in showbiz.
in whatever you're doing.
Right.
You have to work harder, better, faster than everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because part of life and part of success is the fact that the American dream revolves around commerce. Okay,
Right.
and we have to be able to offer something
Mm.
of a product, of a benefit,
Service.
a service, a product, something, okay, that people have a multitude of choices to get that service or that product from other people, okay? Now, we need to be able to harder, better, faster, cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
okay, than everybody else that we're competing for because there's competition in the arena of the American dream,
Right.
right?
And the part of the process is also when you work, things happen. You
That's
know,
right.
if you don't work, nothing's gonna happen.
I probably took this from a lot of people, but I find that the harder I work, the luckier I am. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, and subconsciously, you know, it's you. If it's in you and you're doing it, it'll naturally take place without you actually going and seeking and say, "Hey, I'm looking for this type of person," or what. Like even us meeting, it
That's
wasn't
right.
I wasn't searching for a person like you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me find this guy that's ready to do it and help people. And I, that was not a thought. Uh, to be honest with you, I didn't even know that it included certain things. I just was in tune to, okay, this person is focused and they're ready to start. Because, like you said, just do it. That step. A lot of
Right.
people talk. Then you talk to some of these same people 6 months down the road. 6 months down the road, 6 years down the road, whatever. They're still talking about the same thing. They didn't do it.
The talk is cheap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, talk. Yeah. Talk is cheap, right? And when I started telling people that I was going to do a podcast, guess who showed up first?
The first hater in line that said, "What you gonna do with that?
They
What you
said,
doing that for?
a hater came along and said, "You can't do that."
For what?"
Do you know what I said to that hater?
Uh,
Do you know what I said to that hater?
we say,
I said, I'm going. That's exactly what I'm gonna. I'm going. I said, do you really think I care what you say I can or can't do?
right.
I said, get in line. You're about the 2000th person who stood up and said you can't do that because
Right.
X, Y, Z. Well, here I am. And who's wrong, the hater or me?
Hater.
The hater's wrong. Okay.
Right.
And I will not. I will never, ever. I will not. I will not cede 2 inches to a hater.
Mm.
Get behind me, hater.
Right.
Right? Well, somebody said that before. Get behind me, hater. Right? We know who he was.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we have all these different facets, and in these initial steps of living the American dream. That the more knowledge and the more heads up that we can give these young men when they start going down that road.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not going to be easy.
Right.
It's going to be work. It's going to be hard work. And when you go to work for somebody, shut up, listen, do what they tell you to do, and do it with a smile on your face, as though, like you said, you're doing it as though you enjoy it, and nobody would ever know the difference.
Exactly.
Right. So, get a job, any job. I don't care what it. Get a job, okay? Because the minute that you get a job and you get on the payroll, okay, you have immediately taken a major step towards living the dream. Why? Because if you're working and you're on the clock, somebody's got to pay you.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately you're further ahead than not going to work at all or not wanting to work at all. You're further ahead. You're light years further ahead just because of the fact that now, instead of not being paid for your time, if I go and I apply myself and I work hard, now somebody's paying me for my time. And that's what work is. Okay, I'll exchange my time and my work for your money. That's the deal.
Services for rendering of pay.
There you have it. So, get a job. Just do it. Just go get a job, any job. I don't care what it is. And I want you to take as much overtime that you can get. Just shut up, do a good job, go to work presentable, get your jeans off your ass, get a belt, pull them up. Okay, make yourself presentable when you go to a job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, look like the type of person that you would hire if they showed up to your business
right.
to work.
Mm-hmm.
right?
And then people have to know that once you get a job, you can get a better job.
You hit the critical mass, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you get a job, it's a job.
Mm-hmm.
We're not calling it a career.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to stay there forever,
Mm-hmm.
but at least you're working and you're making money, okay? So then what can you do? You could kind of peek up over the fence and see what other work is out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, there's a better job over there. They're paying more money, and they heard that I work better, harder, faster, cheaper than anybody else. So they decide, they'll pay me an extra $2, $3, $4 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and say if you'll come work for me that hard, when can you start? Get
Yeah,
over
right.
here. There's millions.
Mm-hmm.
There's millions and millions of jobs out there right now for young African American men who want to live the American dream and they're willing to earn it. Millions.
Yeah.
The opportunity that exists now compared to when I was 18 years old, compared to now, there's millions more opportunities now. Okay. Because why? Because the system has rewarded people for doing nothing.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
Okay. So again, we're talking about this idea that the American dream, it takes work, go out, get a job, work better, harder, faster, cheaper. Better jobs will come along. Okay. But you have to take the first step. You have to get started. And the sooner that you get started, it's that much sooner that you're bringing yourself to living the dream. Just in closing, I think one of the things that we should point out is the fact that once we get established and we get a team of people out there in different locations, okay, is that we know that these guys, they're going to need a life coach in general.
Right.
And again, coming back to the partners, I just encourage everybody who's listening, if you want to be a partner, if you want to help be a life coach, we're going to start connecting a lot of people together to get this process going. And again, dream1776@gmail.com, 3 M's. And email us. Until next time, thank you very much for listening, and we will be back at you very soon.